God stirs up dreams, plans, and purposes that He places deep within us. As He was knitting us together in our mother's wombs, it takes passion ignited to make them go somewhere. Now, Dolly Parton is someone who makes me smile. Now, I don't know what you think about her. I think she's often misunderstood. I'm often misunderstood. I'm not saying I'm in the same category as Dolly Parton. I'm not. But anyway. Yeah, she just makes me smile sometimes. Her life story just intrigues me and it inspires me. And, you know, she does give God credit for the life that she's been given to live. So, I don't know. She just makes me smile. Now, my daughter has a picture of Dolly Parton on one of the walls of her home, and it has this quote. And she says, if you're going to dream, you're going to have to put some wings on those dreams, and some feet, and some fingers, and some hands. You can't just sit around and think about all the things you want to do.
That's good.
That's good advice, isn't it? That's substance. Putting wings on those dreams. Now, it stirs within me. And that causes me to press into the dreams that God has for me. That causes me to press into His plans and His purposes for my life. That causes me to be released to run in freedom of knowing that God has a protective watch over me, because His heart's desire is for us to press in to all that He has for us. According to Jeremiah 29:11, He knows the plans that He has for us, plans to prosper us and not to harm us, plans to give us a hope and a future. He knows those plans, those dreams. But do we? Not unless we press into His heart to find out. And not unless we put some wings on those dreams, and some feet, and some fingers, and some hands. In other words, it takes action on our part to put those dreams to flight. Now, recently I was at a civic organization service that was honoring men and women who had passed away during the prior year and had given their lives over to serving this organization well. And on that platform to speak were a Catholic priest, a Baptist preacher, and a Jewish rabbi.
Sounds like a joke.
It does. You were going to say that. I'm just waiting on it. I started to put it in here and I thought, no, Natalie will say it. So it really does. It sounds like a joke. It wasn't. But it was another one of those things that kind of made me giggle. But anyway, their brief messages brought forth from their faith were all so inspiring. But I'm going to tell you, the one that intrigued me the most was from the Jewish rabbi. Now, not only was the message excellent, but you see, this Jewish rabbi was a female. And as I sat there listening to her, reading her biography of being married and having 4 children, I just kept thinking, I didn't know there were female rabbis. You didn't know it either?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I didn't know that. I just kept thinking, when did this happen? So, because I thought, I mean, I know times have definitely changed. The Bible speaks of the ancient Jewish culture as treating their women as nothing more than a piece of property. And much of that time, men placed more value on their animals than they did their wives and daughters. And the women couldn't even enter the temple, but had to sit in the women's court outside the holy place, entering their segregated area through one place called the Women's Gate. So the women of the Jewish culture in biblical days were rarely taught how to read or write, and they were at the mercy of their fathers and or their husbands to teach them about God. All that's running through my head as I'm sitting there. And now I find myself in the midst of a Jewish rabbi speaking and teaching on the Word of God. So, like any inquisitive mind does these days, I Googled it. That's what we do. And there it was. The first female rabbi by the name of Regina Jones was ordained privately in 1935 Germany and became the world's first ordained female rabbi. Well, that brought more intrigue to my thoughts. I was like, okay, 1935 Germany, just a mere few years before the Holocaust in Germany that killed millions of Jewish people. And actually, the year was 1933, 2 years before her ordination, when the Nazis began to establish the concentration camps that would become that systematic torture chamber for the Jews. Wings to those dreams, and fingers and hands and feet. You know, there's some things we just can't fully understand, comprehend, and this is one of them. Yet here was a magnificent moment in time when God had to have brought forth the birthing of the dream he had for women to be used and recognized in his ministry, just as he had done in ancient times, written throughout the Word of God. But I wonder how he used her, this first female Jewish rabbi in the 1930s, to minister to the other Jewish women during that time in Germany. I don't know, that really just grabbed hold of my heart. You know, it was unknown to them, but their faith and their strength would soon be tested beyond all measure of humanity. And I thought, what a heavy mantle of authority for her to wear. Mm-hmm. So now my thoughts turn back to the message of the female Jewish rabbi that I was being allowed the opportunity to listen to. And another reason she caught hold of my heartstrings when she began speaking, she spoke on Exodus 39. I absolutely loved her message. And she was talking about the priestly garments. And specifically, she spoke on the mantle of Aaron. Now, the ephod and the breastpiece that God instructed with careful precision for his priests to wear were not only beautiful to look at, but they were significant. And on the front were attached 12 precious stones, each inscribed with the name of a tribe of Israel. And this symbolized how the high priest represented all the people before God. Then this rabbi said, what if? That really caught my attention big time.
Yeah.
Because as many of you know, that's been the other part of our foundational theme in Godly Girlfriends ministry this year. So she definitely had my attention at what if. And she said, what if our leaders, our presidents, and anyone in position of authority wore their mantle the way Aaron did? What if, when they placed that mantle of authority upon themselves every day, the weight of all of the people that they represent sat upon their heart in a physical sense? What if that weight and the beauty of the mantle proudly displayed that those entrusted to the covering of that mantle were protected by good decisions, good choices, the number one priority and the only agenda upon that leader's heart? It caught my attention. You know, if we could only see that mantle that God places upon us, and we all have one. We all have one. Because that mantle is the dream. That mantle is the plan. It's the purpose for our lives being lived out. But unfortunately, we're not all wearing our mantle. We've either shunned its use, or we've not yet allowed ourselves to wear it. So, what if we could physically see that mantle? What if we could physically feel that mantle? Would it ignite that passion to put wings on those dreams? That stirs within me. The wings, the hands, the fingers, and the feet. And I'm just going to challenge all of you that are watching this, that are listening to this. Let's allow him to place our mantle upon us. And let's dance freely in the plans and the purposes that he has for our lives. Let's don't just sit around and think about all those things that we want to do. Let's don't just exist through this life, but let's put wings on those dreams and let's live our lives abundantly.